There's a word that we always hear, and it sometimes can set us in a bad mood. The word is conflict. And sometimes people think conflict is the worst thing that can happen in the workplace. However, I believe contrary. When managed appropriately and effectively, conflict can breed so much innovation in the workforce. But we have to know how to manage it effectively. First off, let's just understand that conflict is going to happen. Whenever there are two or more people in a space or on a project, there is an opportunity for conflict to arise. But conflict, again, does not necessarily have to be a bad thing. So here are some of my recommendations. Let's address and have a conversation about it. A lot of times we just kind of let things fester. We start to give off passive aggressive attitudes. We become disengaged in the workplace, and that's not productive for anyone. So let's not take that route. Let's take the route of being engaging and being very intentional about trying to find a resolution to the matter. Make sure you start the conversation off with a thoughtful opening that does not sound judgmental. Once the conversation is started, we want to make sure we're actively listening. Now, hearing is one thing, listening is something totally different. Hearing is us being able to physically hear audible sounds. Actively listening means that we need to be intentional, focused, and that we're listening to comprehend and gain understanding. A lot of times we go into these conversations, prove our point, and try to point blame at the other person. When if we take the approach of going into the conversation to gain perspective and understanding, then the outcome may be a little bit different. So we want to be sure that we're actively listening, we're summarizing what we heard so there's no misinterpretation on either side, and that we're reiterating what we've heard and understand that our colleague has said. Once we've had conversation, the goal is then to find a win-win outcome for all parties concerned. This means that there's going to be some compromise, there's going to be some give and take, and that we're going to find our mutual grounds for doing the work that we're doing and figuring out how we can best partner and move forward with a new approach to engagement and communication. Now, once the new approach is established, then it is very important, and this is where I see a lot of people not follow through. It's important that we pivot to that new approach right away, and then we schedule a follow up conversation to make sure that the new approach is working. We want to thank the other person for engaging in conversation and taking time to really be engaged with finding a solution. That thank you can go a very long way. So, the goal is to have the conversation, make sure that there is no judgment, actively listen to all parties involved, find a solution that is a win win, develop and commit to a new approach and put it into action as soon as that meeting or conversation is done, and then follow up in a reasonable amount of time to ensure that it's working. And if it's not working, then go back in and have another conversation and see where the plan needs to be tweaked. If we take this approach to conflict resolution and really being open and engagement, we can minimize passive aggressive disengagement and team dynamic breakdowns that can happen when we don't manage conflict effectively.